So we have Brittany here with us, and I'm so excited to ask her a couple of questions about her journey with just embracing her scar and kind of moving on in life, regardless of what she's been through. So it's great to have you, Brittany.
Thanks for having me.
So the first question that I have for you is, what is your heart condition?
I was born with Tetralogy of Fallot, which pretty much means my pulmonary valve isn't working. When I was about 19, going into my sophomore year of college, that summer I had my third open heart surgery to fix that valve. They gave me an artificial valve. I had two other surgeries before then, but I was under the age of 2, so I don't really remember them. But without those surgeries, my scar was pretty much non-existent. Growing up, because I was so little, I guess my body just had time to heal, and it was just this very faint line, and unless you looked really close, you couldn't see it. I did still have like the tube scars, and then I have this really prominent scar on this side that kind of goes from my front to my back because they had to go through the side when I was 4 days old. But now that I had my most recent surgery, I've had to deal with, the aftermath of remembering that surgery, and also I have a more prominent scar now, so it kind of changed my whole body image as a young girl, a young woman, and I just had to relearn how to live with this plus more tube scars. So it was difficult in the beginning.
Now, I know for some people, their tube scars are kind of like indented. Mine are not. Are yours?
They are, and then some of them aren't. I think
Okay.
I have about, so before my most recent surgery, I think I had one because I was so little. Now I have, I think, 4 or 5, and some of them are and some of them aren't. But they're definitely, like, from far away, they kind of look like another belly button. Like, I will admit, like, before I was kind of insecure about them. I was like, this is, not so pretty, so yeah, mine are a little indented.
And what I'm assuming that you didn't go into the last surgery that you've had thinking that you were going to come out with such a prominent scar. When you woke up and realized that it was so prominent, what was your first thought?
I actually knew it was going to be more prominent, actually,
Okay.
because at the time I was studying occupational therapy, so we just learned about scars, and I knew, okay, this is going to be your second one. Like, it's a hypertrophic keloid, whatever you want to call it, scar. It's going to double in size each time. And plus, I knew a friend in college. He had 8 open heart surgeries, and his was much thicker than mine. So I had a feeling it was going to look different, but I didn't know how much different, if you want to say that for.
Gotcha. Okay.
Hmm.
Awesome. That makes sense. Yeah, because if you're kind of studying the
Yeah.
medical side of things in
Hmm.
occupational therapy, it is leaning on the medical side. So you kind of had an idea of what you were going into. Okay.
Yes, I had an idea. I knew it was going to be a little more raised and a little different, but again, everyone's scar is so different, so I wasn't sure exactly how it was going to turn out. I remember telling my surgeon, please try to make the scar look pretty. Like, I remember telling him that, and he's like, I'm going to keep you alive first. And I was like, yes, that's more important, but so.
And has your thought about having the scar be pretty, has that changed since since you've lived with it for a while now?
Yes, actually, definitely. And actually changed within a couple months. I will say that right after my surgery, I kind of was just like, I accepted it. I actually accepted it faster than I thought I was going to. Because one, I told myself, well, this is your body. You can't surgically fix it because that's just going to make it worse. And, who cares? You've been through so much. I kind of love it now. It's like a like a story piece. Like, everyone's like, oh my God, like they're like blown away. I remember doing field work and I had patients like, oh my God, why am I complaining about? Like, no, this is about you. But they'll look at me as an inspiration, like, okay, if I went through this, I can go, and you went through that, I can do this too. So it really, it, it kind of, I viewed it as more of a inspired others. I really started giving people hope and encouragement from it. And I stopped trying to cover it up. Obviously I had to, just because it was a brand new scar right after my surgery. But honestly, after that, I just kept wearing clothes that I wore before. I really, yeah, I didn't need to. hide it anymore. It was,
It's kind of become a part of who you are and you've accepted it.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. And none of my friends, all my loved ones, no one's ever made me feel different. So, and I've honestly never had anyone except maybe once or twice say anything negative, like strangers I'm speaking about. Like it's always been inspirational, or, oh my God, you're so strong. And it's my battle scar. It's shown people that I have overcome something that, and like many of us have, that is super scary. Having open heart surgery is not the easiest thing in the world. It is terrifying. It is for everyone, the parents and the child or the adult. And, just show people that, look, I overcame something that tried to kill me, but I overcame it. So wear your scars proudly, wear them, love them. It's part of you and no one else has that. So
That's awesome. I'm so happy that you found that found that point in your life, because there are a lot of people who don't. And for those who haven't found that way of embracing their scar, or that moment of kind of accepting it, how would you want to help them? What would you want to share with them?
it's definitely going to have to come from them. I'm never going to make someone just be like, no, you need to like your scar. I will admit there are some days that I'm just like, I wish I didn't have it. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say right now, every day I'm like, I love you, it's great. But I would tell them, look, you went through something that not a lot of people go through every day, and not many people who could, and especially at such a young age. And it just shows that you are just so much stronger. It's going to be a hate-love relationship with your scar. You got to just learn to, you will eventually accept it. You will have just find your own way through, but just know that you are beautiful no matter what your scar looks like. It has made you who you are. You are alive today because of that scar. And, life is beautiful. And I think we need to focus more on that than, what society unfortunately puts out there, that, life is beauty, and you just got to embrace that.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message. And I hope that those who are watching are able to take some pieces of wisdom from that and kind of apply it to their own lives. Now, you mentioned about society and kind of the view on people who have scars, and you just blasted yourself out there in society and on a billboard. Could
Yeah,
you
in
tell us,
Times Square, never less.
could you tell us a little bit about how that all came about in that experience?
It was 2 years post my third open heart surgery, and it was around the time, it was about the exactly 2 years after, and I kind of was celebrating my second birthday for my valve, I would call it. And I wanted to do something special. I wanted to celebrate my scar in some way. So I found a friend who knew a professional photographer, and they were kind enough to take me in. Him and his colleagues, they helped me get all dolled up and did my hair, and I just felt amazing, and it's very therapeutic to go through all of this. And we just took a bunch of creative shots. So I encourage anyone, I thought it was great. If you really want to celebrate your scars, go out there and take pictures and really get into it. It was fun. We got creative. We did all different shots. They were celebrating with me. They were celebrating life. We were celebrating beauty. We were, rawness, because there was a lot of pictures that were just capturing the pain and the beauty at the same time. And so it was really fun and exciting. And then about a year later, or it might have been, so that was like in the summer. And then I think about towards February of the following year, was the Mended Hearts Rocker Cigar Contest. I don't know how I came up. I think I was part of the Facebook page and they were advertising it. Like, oh, this looks fun. Let me do something with them. So I got permission from the photographer and I submitted my photo for my age group and I won. So that was exciting.
Wait, you
Yeah,
won
so
the whole thing?
no, well, they have like different age groups, like
Oh, okay.
1 to 3 or, 8 to 10 or something. And I think I was like 18 to 25 was my age group. So I won for that year. So I was like, oh, that's exciting. I think this was 2019. I won for that year. So they were going to use my picture to promote, just strength and beauty and, all that. And I'm all about that because I was like, why not? Why not use these pictures? Here they started out just for me, but I was like, wait, I can use this to help other people struggling with their scar and accepting it to feel empowered and encouraged and whatnot, because unfortunately we're in a society where beauty is just no scars, and just they have it so that we are viewed as, it's not the mainstream, so I wanted to encourage people like, no, you're beautiful. Like, I really want to get people more with scars and disabilities and such on, in modeling and photography and stuff, because we're just like everyone else. I think we're stronger for just have to say, like we have these amazing stories to tell, and I just think scars are beautiful. They're just so I'm happy I got on there, and I was like, oh great, here. I'm like, great. They'll just whoever's on the page will see it and be like, oh wow. And I was hoping it would inspire them. I was hoping that one little girl would see it, at least just one, because I know growing up as a little girl, even though I didn't have such a prominent scar then, if I saw I'm not a model, but if I saw somebody who, was on a billboard or in a magazine or something, I would have been like, wow, like I'm powered, like I can do it, she can do it. My scar is beautiful. And so that happened. And then a year later, I didn't know Mended was going to do this, but they posted to celebrate during this past in 2020 in February. They posted my picture and then some others who won the contest the past year. They put me on the Billboard, and I honestly, this is how I found out. I was just scrolling through Facebook one day in my dorm, and I just saw it on their video, and I was like, so I didn't even know, like no one told me or anything, and I was like, oh my God, I think that's me. So I was like, holy cow, I'm on a billboard in Times Square. Like, I was just like, my dream of me reaching more people is coming true. Like, I knew then at least one person was going to see it and be empowered and encouraged. Like, I was ecstatic. I was like, wow, I'm going to make someone's life change. I'm going to make someone feel better, a parent, a patient, a young child, anyone, just feel empowered. So I was really excited about that. I was in awe. So
Yeah. That's great. You mentioned like empowering the younger age groups, and recently in a lot of the Facebook posts for people who have congenital heart defects, there have been posts that I've seen of parents posting an image of their child and saying, my child today had a rough day, and kind of thought of their scar as this negative piece of them. Could anyone who has a scar who is older or even the same age share a photo in this thread and help my daughter feel less alone, essentially? And that is what you're giving to everybody else out there, anyone who submitted a picture to the Mended Hearts program. So that is so amazing. I feel like that's needed, and it needs to be put out there more. And yes, more models need to be out there kind of flashing their scars and embracing it. And I hope that eventually society will get comfortable with it. I don't know, there's something about many in society feeling that like when you're different, it's almost like some people don't know how to react. And so if someone were to come up to you and ask you a question about your scar, how would you handle that, essentially?
I'm very open. So I just tell them I had open heart surgery. I was born with a heart condition. And, again, it just depends who the person is and how the conversation's going, if I tell them more or less, but I'm pretty open to it. I obviously put my scar on a billboard. Like, I'm just, I want to encourage people, empower people. I want to give people hope. I want people to feel beautiful. If I can do that through a picture, because a picture can speak 1,000 words. I feel the picture that they post that I submitted for the project was very empowering. It says many things, and I'm totally open with just telling anyone anything, answering any questions. I will admit, some people were kind of off put by it. They were like, what's like, are you okay? Like, or they were unsure of it, and I'd rather have them ask than, say anything mean. But even when something mean is said, I always say, why? Why? Like, would you like to know more? Like, I just think it needs to have that open conversation, and people just need to ask more and stop being afraid. It's a scar. Yes, I went through something, but I think there's a bigger story behind that. So.
So I want to ask you about your childhood and your relationship with your scar, because as you mentioned, when you got older, you had another surgery, and so it made the scar more prominent. So when you were younger, it wasn't as visible. What was your
Mhm.
relationship with your scar when you were younger?
When I was younger, from what I can remember, as the youngest I can go, it was a positive one actually with the sagittal, mid-sagittal cut. Um, I was much more comfortable with this because you could barely see it. Like I had it, people didn't even know I had a heart condition because I would be like, yeah, I had open heart surgery. Like when I had to tell a teacher when I was young or something, and they would have to come closer and look and be like, oh yeah, you did have. Now they definitely can tell. So it was more positive. I will admit the one on my side here
Mhm.
was much more negative relationship. I still honestly, out of all my scars, I think I struggle with that one the most. I remember middle school, especially, I was trying to cover it up, going to bathe. You know, my mom and I would always struggle going out trying to find a bathing suit. I wanted to wear a bikini like everyone else, but I always had to find something thicker to cover there because I just, you know, at that time in my life, I wanted to. And I remember my mom just always feeling so upset for me. But she was a big strength in my life. She really never made me feel different from anyone else, you know, never made me, it was all just inside my head, you know, and think about just society and being in middle school and then early high school, definitely trying to find yourself. And then you have to deal with this. And so it was hard, and also trying to find, you know, other clothes and stuff like growing up. It was hard to try to cover it all up, and I just wanted to be like everyone else. But as I got older in high school, I don't know if it's because maturity or whatever, but I accepted it. I was like, it's been part of you for how long? And again, it's just been a conversation starter, and I've just learned to accept it. And again, there will be days, and there are, you know, I'm not saying once you accept it, you never think of it in a negative light again. There are days I'm just like, ugh, but you know what? It's what it makes you, you know. I remember as a young girl always worried, oh my God, for my wedding day, I'm gonna have to find a wedding dress to cover it up. No, you don't. Like who like who said that? Society? No. Everyone's known me who's gonna be there, loves me, and they've known me my whole life. And honestly, I wouldn't be Brittany without that scars or all the scars. So yeah.
Was there ever a point where you had negative reactions to your scars?
By others?
Yeah, by others.
Okay. Yes, there was one point I was in school for occupational therapy and I was at field work and I was working in the ICU, believe it or not, with people who had open heart surgery or some heart related um, surgery or whatnot. And I had an elder man, much older than me, because it was very hard for me to hide in scrubs my scar. Like it was only a little bit sticking out, but people could still tell. And he said to me, I hope my scar never turns into yours or looks like yours. And I will admit, this is now after I won the contest for Rock Your Star, but before I was put on the Billboard. So I was at a stage where I was okay with my scar, but to be honest, that hit me. You know, for someone to say that to me, I was like, oh, here I've always gotten positive feedback, and here's someone has to say that to me. But I looked back and said, listen, you weren't in a happy state either when you had your open heart surgery right after in the ICU. You were in the darkest time of your life. That's what this person's going through. They're in the darkest point of their life right now. They're scared. And I just shrugged it off. It didn't, I'm like, you know what? I told him, I'm like, well, we're going to do our best to, you know, scar management and whatnot and try to keep you healthy. And we're going to do our best to, you know, so it doesn't look like this. Like I kind of just pushed it off, you know. He was going through a hard time and
Right.
I need to understand that not everyone's going to be accepting of this. And I always felt like maybe the older generation too, in their time, women always had to be well kept and stuff. So the the idea of the scar being shown, like just out there, you know, can make some people feel uncomfortable. But hey, that's where that conversation needs to open up again.
Right, right. Yeah, that's really interesting that it was an older gentleman. And like you shared, he was terrified of what, because he
Hmm.
hadn't gotten the surgery yet, right? He hadn't had open heart surgery at that point. He was
No,
getting
he
ready.
didn't.
Okay.
Hmm. Actually, no, wait. No, I did. I said he had it, but he was like weeks post. I think he was there because he had something else happen. But so this
Okay.
was after, and I think his scar was still healing, and he was just hoping it didn't turn into mine. And hey, you know what? Some people are going to be empowered by this, and some people are going to get scared. But you know what? I was there. I comforted him, and I told him we're going to get through this together.
Yeah.
And then there was another time I had my age, and she just had open heart surgery. So I went in for the eval. I remember I walked in, she was screaming at the nurse, no one knows what I'm going through, because you're in a lot of pain. I remember I was not a ray of sunshine after my surgery to people, and I apologize. But so I walked in and I showed her my scar, therapeutic report. And I was like, hey, I know what you're going through. And immediately that helped her. So in that case, see, it did help somebody. And my scar, brought hope to her, and it, helped her say, okay, I can do this. I can get through this. I'm going to heal. It's going to be good. So.
Well, thank you so much, Brittany, for joining us and sharing your message with everybody and encouraging everyone to embrace their scars.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to be able to talk about it, and it's something that needs to be talked about more. So I just wanted to tell everyone who's watching, you are beautiful, you are strong, and you are empowering. Never let anything or anyone says bring you down. Man, woman, girl, or boy, embrace your scars. They make you who you are, and you are a strong being. So thank you again.
You're welcome.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.